left my nursing job, and I was trying to figure out a way that I was going to supplement my income. And I also kind of was going through a little mini identity crisis, I think, because I've been a NICU nurse for the last 10 years. So my sister had been bugging me about Plexus for 4 months, and I told her, no. And I didn't need that. I couldn't afford it. All the things y'all hear from people, right? So my first tip is don't ever give up on anybody, because you just never know what they're going to do in your business, and you never know how badly they need the products. I needed them so bad. I was really suffering in silence, and I was just scared. I was scared of what the changes would do in my life. I was scared about what my new life would look like. You know, when you make a big transformation, sometimes it's scary to step out of your comfort zone. Even if you're joining the business and you're like, I don't know if I'll be good at it, right? So just know that sometimes people just need that extra bit of encouragement. I had a friend of mine, actually, and this is one thing I'll talk about, the power of a three-way call, three-way message. I know y'all have heard that, but even in my own experience, my sister had told me for 4 months to try Plexus, and I said, no. And I watched her life transform, and I still didn't try it until along came my friend Shannon. And she said, well, I'm going to try it if you want to try it with me. And I said, okay. So that's kind of, I always tell people the power of that third-party validation is so important. So just know you're not doing anything wrong when you bring in a third party. Sometimes people worry that it's going to make them feel uncomfortable or make them feel pressured. I actually think it really helps to support what they're already probably thinking and feeling. So fast forward, I joined up as an ambassador to get the discount. My husband told me I had 60 days to get my products paid for because couldn't afford them. And I got on Facebook day one and started sharing, which is a big part of my story. I always recommend sharing right away. We'll talk a little bit about that. And so I jumped on. I had 3 or 4 people reach out to me interested. I got them signed up, and I got this wonderful little paycheck. And I went, well, that was easy. So what happens if I really try? And long story short, my prayers were answered, the prayers I've been praying for a long time. I created this wonderful business. I went Ruby in the first 4 months of my business and am quickly approaching senior Ruby. And it's been a wonderful blessing. It's been unexpected blessings, unexpected challenges along the way, but I'm really grateful for every part of it. So, and for being asked to do these kinds of things, because I'm not sure why anybody cares what I have to say, but I'm happy to share it. So, so she wanted me to talk a little bit about recruiting, because a lot of y'all are in that part of your business where you are prospecting. Sometimes people call it prospecting. And basically what that means is that you are looking for the people that you want on your team. So the first thing is make a hundreds list. Okay. I know y'all have heard this, but let me just tell you, I didn't even do this. Okay. I just had a thing in my phone that I would be like, oh, I should talk to so-and-so. I should talk to so-and-so. I never made that hundreds list. And I quickly learned that what happens is your brain tells you, you don't know anybody else. I don't know anybody else. There's nobody else I can talk to. And when you start actually writing it down, you're going to find that it's not just who you know, but who they know, right? So if you made a list and you go to that list, you're like, well, I only have 50 names. And first of all, when you make that list, it should not have anything to do with Plexus, not one thing. It should have to do with who do you know. If you met them on the city bus, you should write down their name. Right? Like if you have their phone number in your phone, I don't care how long ago that was, write down their name. You just don't know where that list is going to take you. So if you get 50 people and you get stuck, what I want you to do is go back to the top of your list and go back to each of those people. And I want you to try to think of 3 names of those people that you know, or that maybe you don't know personally, but maybe you know they have a sister, a brother, and a cousin, or their parents are divorced and they have a mom and a stepdad on this side, and the same on the other side. So write down those little ideas and think about that. And then I also want you to go through that list, and I want you to pick the top 10 people that you think would be interested in the products or the business or need it. And I want you to kind of circle them. And then I want you to go to the top 5 of those, and I want you to write down next to those names why you think they need it the most, okay? So you can kind of remember. And then I want you to start reaching out to those people with your upline. I always recommend the first couple of messages that you try to get your upline involved with you, because number one, they're scary. And number two, I think that it helps to know, to have somebody else kind of tell you what to say. And it helps to have that buffer of, what if they ask me a question I don't know? And this is really important when you're talking about your downline, because if you're past this point, if you've already started reaching out, then we're not just talking about, what you're doing. We're talking about what your team is doing. And you want to instill in them the confidence that you're always going to be there to answer those questions that they don't know, or you have somebody above you that can. So I also want you on a separate sheet to make a dream team list, okay? I want you to find 5 names that you can think of people that inspire you, people that when they post about their peanut butter and jelly sandwich at lunch have like 200 likes, right? Like those people. I want you to think about them. I want you to think about those people that are in every mom's club in the city, that are involved in tons of charity and organizations, or they do all kinds of stuff at their church. Those people that have positive energy that you find yourself gravitating to, that you find yourself reading their posts. Maybe it's on Facebook, maybe it's on Instagram. Those people that have a big following, and I want you to write them down. Or maybe it's somebody that is well trusted. Like if they told you to get something, would you get it? If you know somebody like that, and in your mind, you're probably already thinking about who those people are in your life. Write those people down. Write the people down that if you could stand on the Olympic, gold medal podium, who would you want standing next to you, right? That's how I want you to write down those names. And I want you to start reaching out to them today. And I want you to, in those messages, when you reach out to them, I want you to tell them why you want them in the business. And I want you to be really direct. I want you to put your big girl pants on, big boy pants on, and I want you to say to them, I'm doing this business. It's amazing. And I know you would be so good at it, and here's why. And I want you to think of 3 reasons. Maybe it's because they're really well connected. Maybe it's because people trust them. Maybe it's because they're just really good at reaching out to people. Or maybe it's because they have such a compassionate, kind heart, and that they're going to love what it feels like to get those messages back that say, oh my gosh, I didn't take a nap today. I actually did the laundry. You know how good that feels when someone says, I didn't have to take my allergy meds today, or whatever it was that was huge for them, right? I lost 2 pounds. So people that, whatever it is that you think is going to inspire them, I want you to reach out to them. I want you to send them a genuine personal message. And here's what I want you to know when you do it, when you push send. They might not say anything. They might say no. They might say, I might be interested, or they might be like, okay, tell me more about it. And then you might never hear from them again about it, right? They might start to avoid you. I've had that happen. Good friends of mine that I thought would be great in this because they're uncomfortable. And I just want you to know that when you get into it, because know that it's not you. It's not you. It's all of us have a comfort zone. We all have fear in our hearts that we're not going to be good at this. But they need you to instill that confidence in them, right? I always tell people you need to borrow belief if you don't have it. So build your belief first, and then reach out to them in confidence, and know that whatever response you get, this is the number one thing. If you take anything away tonight, remember this: when you're prospecting, when you're recruiting, you are offering gold in your hands, okay? You're not offering pennies. You're not offering a kind of good, maybe job opportunity. You're offering the best opportunity that you could ever give someone. You're offering someone an opportunity that doesn't have a ceiling, that has the most potential of anything they'll ever do. So you have to believe that in your heart first, right? If you're questioning what you're doing right now, if you're like, oh, I don't know, I feel like a salesperson, all that, then you're going to present it that way. If you trust in your gut that what you're doing is changing people's lives, and you're reaching out to them intentionally with heart, then they will see that and they will believe that too. So that's the first part. I want you to make a list, okay? And I want you to start reaching out. The other thing is thinking about your network and being intentional. So one thing that I always do is I'm very intentional I talk about a lot about consistency and intentionality. So I'm not going to on this call get into all the things I'm sure Kelly tells you every day about, right? Post on your Facebook and do 531, all that, because y'all already know that probably, right? If you don't, I know that you have amazing uplines that want to share that with you and support you and how to get that going. But what is really important is remembering, I always tell people, think about you, right? If someone's trying to get you to try something, experience something with them, and they get on and they go, oh my gosh, I found the best mascara in the world, right? You're kind of like, oh, that kind of sounds interesting. I wonder what it is. And you never hear it about it again. Do you like message them and say, tell me about this mascara? Probably not. But if they post about it the first day, then they show you a picture, what it looks like on, and then they maybe post 3 or 4 days in a row, like, you know, some wonderful comment about it, or a picture of them and their husband out and about, and they've got the mascara on. You're like, gosh, that looks really amazing. I might want to know about that. And maybe you message them, or maybe they message you, but those authentic, consistent posts are what are going to get people's attention. So being very consistent. If you just drop off the map and you stop doing what you're supposed to be doing, people don't trust you anymore. If you start sharing Plexus and you come back 6 months later and share Plexus again, it's much harder to grab your audience. So I always tell my new ambassadors to jump in feet first, post your why right away. You never know what your story is gonna inspire for somebody else. Your story may be completely different than their story. And then always make sure that you are just really being consistent. The other word I use a lot is intentional. And the reason for that is because in every conversation, you need to be thinking about how you're going to talk about Plexus. Okay. And there's two sides to this. One, I use my social media for business. So I always think about how can I get them on my social media? And the other one is how can I bring up Plexus? So tonight in my breastfeeding class, I have a mom I was talking to, and her sister is on Plexus. I know that she knows about Plexus. I know that she knows I sell Plexus. She knows I'm passionate about Plexus. And I know that there's lots of opportunity that she could have brought it up to me and didn't. So I know she's probably not ready. But guess what I heard in our conversation? I heard about a skin disorder that her husband has. I heard about allergies going on in her family. I heard about some gut issues. So I have that in my mind where now I'm going to write that down somewhere next to her name, and I'm going to remember to follow up with her and say, hey, I was thinking about what you said about this, and I was wondering if you've ever looked into this probiotic. I want to send you some information. I'm always very intentional in every conversation. With moms, I always think about what do they do for work, right? Because every mom is either working too hard to pay the bills and not getting to spend enough time with their kids, or they spend all their time with their kids and they don't have any fun time, right? They have no, like, it's really hard to fit in friendships and lots of, things that we get with Plexus, this joy that we get of these relationships that we build. Some moms, that's what Plexus is about for them, that they get to have something outside of being just a mom. And don't get me wrong, I love being a mom, but it's definitely one of the hardest jobs in the world. And I think that Plexus gives a lot of moms an outlet. So you're usually going to find people on one spectrum or the other. Sometimes people will tell you, I love my job, I love this and that. And what I've found is there are some people that feel that way. But what I've also found is that if they could do anything in the world, it's usually not what they're doing right at that moment. They want to have something for themselves, but, and they like getting away from their home or whatever, but they don't love that their boss tells them when they can take a vacation. They don't love that they missed Christmas with their kids, right? I loved being a NICU nurse, but that was something that was really hard on me. So I always think about that when I'm talking to people. How can I enter this into the conversation? One of the things I usually ask is, do you stay home with your kids? Or if I'm just having a genuine conversation with someone, or maybe, what do you do for work? I'll ask them, because guess what their next statement is or question? What do you do? And the other thing that I always think about is, if you are doing Plexus as a part-time job, like if you're doing it separate from another job, I always lead with Plexus. I always say, I'm an RN. I'm going to be an RN for a very long time, right? Hopefully forever. But that's not what I lead with. I lead with Plexus. I lead with, and I lead with it in a passionate way. Oh my gosh, I work for the most amazing company. I just started a few months ago, and it's been a game changer. It's changed my family's entire life. It's the most generous, amazing company. I just went to Vegas. I'm getting ready to go to Dallas for free. Like, it's so fun. And they're like, really? What is that about? Like, I mean, you want to, it's like an explosion, right? Like, you're so excited about it. And you should be so excited about it. If you're not, then that's where we have to start. So that's kind of my piece on how do I approach it in conversation. So a lot of people ask me, like, how do you bring it up with someone? The other thing that I've found is in cold messaging, I used to like reach out to those people I haven't talked to in 10 years and like reach out to them and be like, your kids are so cute. What are you guys up to these days? And then like 2 days later, I would like drop the Plexus bomb, right? And what I've learned is that I think that comes across disingenuous. So what I've changed to, and it was mainly my insecurity. It was my fear that, and my lack of belief that what I had wasn't good enough, that it wasn't enough to share with them from the get-go, that I had to build some sort of relationship before I shared that. And what I've learned is the opposite to be true. The people that really want this are going to jump in with you right away. The people that aren't sure are going to be unsure whether you enter it this way or enter it that way. And even sometimes the people that reach out to you that are really interested still sometimes sit on the fence for a long time. So you just be authentic. You share with a heart of gold and with the passion and a fire inside of you that is like a rocket ship, right? That's going to boost you to the top. You share that way and they will catch the vision when they're ready. Okay, it's all going to be about timing. So now I come straight out and I say, hey girl, I saw the pictures of your kids the other day and it made me think of you because I'm a busy mom too. And I wanted to share with you something that has completely changed my life. I started using Plexus 4 months ago and I'm a totally different mom. Is there a time that we could set up to chit chat about it sometime? Or I'd really love to send you some info. I use the if I will you. If I send you some info, would you look over it? That kind of stuff. I'd like to send you a free sample in the mail. I tend not to ask if I'm going to send something. Can you send me your address? I'll just state it. Sometimes I will share just, you know, I do try to put a question in the end if I'm trying to create a conversation. So one of the things I like to talk about with recruiting is remember when you're sending out messages that the invitation is not the sales pitch. Okay. Hear me again. The invitation is not the sales pitch. Y'all, I've been there, right? What is Plexus? You just throw Plexus all over them, right? I've been there. I've done it a million times because we're so excited. And we think that one time that we talk to them is the only time they're going to hear us, right? Nod your head. You all been there, right? Everybody been there. Okay. I promise you, if you create a relationship with them and you create belief in them, it's not the last time you're going to talk to them about Plexus. And if you don't get them right away, it's not because of what you said or did. It's because they're not ready. So build that ping pong match. Get them talking to you. Ask them questions about why they're interested. You'll find that, you know, if they said, what is Plexus? And you just vomit on them, you're going to miss the 10 things that they might have wanted to ask you or that you might be able to find out. Like if you say, oh my gosh, it's this amazing health and wellness company that I've been working for. The supplements have been absolutely life-changing. What made you interested? Or do you have health goals that you're trying to reach or whatever? All of a sudden they might share with you that something's going on with their husband, that their sister-in-law was just diagnosed with something. Then maybe it's like, you know what? You talk to them about that and you're like, since you already have 2 or 3 family members that are struggling, have you ever thought about signing up for the discount and then you can earn commission on your own products? I mean, that's open to dialogue that's completely different than, let me tell you all the facts about Plexus, right? So and like I said, do as I say, not as I do. I've messed this up many a time. I'm learning along the way how to tweak those messages. Share with your sidelines, with your downline, with your uplines, share your cold messages. I love I know Kelly's probably done this, post a thread on your team page or in your files of cold messages and y'all share them back and forth because sometimes people just need an idea of how to reach out differently than they're doing. If you've been doing the same thing for months and it's not working, you need to change what you're doing. Okay. Recruiting. The next thing I'll talk about recruiting is goals. You need to have measurable goals. We've all heard about these SMART goals, right? It's very important. And I saw the amazing post that Kelly did about this. It's very important that every single month and maybe even every single week that you set some goals. So you're going to set a really big goal, right? You're going to go to Hawaii. Okay. That's going to be your big goal. You're going to drive a Plexus Lexus. You're going to be a diamond, whatever that looks like for you. That's going to be your big goal. Okay. But you have to have some small measurable goals every month. So every single month, your goal should be to go silver and to have 500 PV at the bare minimum. Okay. And I'm not saying you beat yourself up if you don't reach that goal. What I'm saying is if you don't have that goal and you don't know how to get there, you're never going to reach it. So that's really, really, really important. So if your goal is to go silver, and when I say go silver, I don't mean go silver and get a bonus. If you're like, oh, I'm already silver. I mean, you need to sponsor you have 3 personally sponsored ambassadors every single month. Okay. And then if you are past silver, then your goal needs to be that you are going to personally sponsor 3 ambassadors. And then you need to make some goals for each of your ambassadors. Okay. You need to decide, okay, this ambassador is just getting started, right? So I want her to sponsor 1 person. This ambassador's been doing it a while. I want her to go silver again. And this ambassador is been doing it a while, but she's struggling. So I'm going to say, I think she could get 2 this month. She got 1 last month. I think she could get 2 this month. You're going to set those goals, and then you're going to write out how you're going to get to that, right? You're going to set up a team call with them, a 3-way call with you and them and Kelly, or whoever is in your upline. You're going to set up some coaching stuff along the way with them. You're going to maybe get with Kelly on running an incentive for them, or you're going to do some 3-way messaging. You're going to say, hey, if you send me 3 3-way messages this week, I'm going to send you a gift or whatever. I'm going to, send you a sample of P96 or whatever it is you want to do. You're going to do something to inspire them. You're going to get on those 3-way messages with them and show them that it's not as hard as they think it is. So that's really an important step I think, to recruiting, because it's not just about, like I said, who you know, it's about who they know. Okay, let's talk about what if I have, because I know this is going to come up when I go to questions. What if I just have wholesalers, right? How many people have wholesalers? So you're like, I don't know what to do with them. Somebody on there. Yeah. Okay. They do not want the business. Okay. So they do want the business. They're just terrified of the business. Okay. If you handed somebody $100,000 check tomorrow, they would not tell you no. They just don't want to, they don't know what that looks like. Right. They're scared. They're busy. They're this or that. Right. And it just terrifies people. They're too shy. So make it really simple for them. Reach out to those wholesalers that love their products. First step, get them to love their products. Give them customer service like you've never done before, right? Help them, troubleshoot with them, stay on top of that. All the people that I've lost are the people that I disconnected from, that I got too busy and I didn't respond and I didn't realize, and then boom, they turn their backup order off, right? And I reach out to them and they're like, I've been having diarrhea for 2 weeks and I had no idea, right? And I could have helped them and they've given up. So just remember that's really, really important. And it's one of the things that I think sets Plexus apart from anything else. Okay. So also, I want you to reach out to them once they love their products. And I want you to say, hey, if I could tell you a way to get your products paid for, would you be interested? It's rare that I hear people say no. Okay. Then you want to make it really easy. You want to get them to give you a couple of names and say, hey, can we reach out to them together? Let's see if they'd be interested in the product. Do the hard stuff for them. They're terrified. They're thinking, I don't know all this stuff about Plexus that you do. I don't know how to tell somebody how to do that, take their products. I reassure my wholesalers that I'm going to do that part for you. And then when they start to get more and more confident, then the ball starts to kind of roll. But sometimes it's just getting their products paid for. And what that does is a couple things. One, it instills confidence in them that they can do it. Sometimes it sets a business off for them. Sometimes it just keeps them taking their product, right? Because if you can have products you love for free, you're not going to quit. So it reduces your risk of white lines. Okay, so what do you do if you feel like your network is used up, right? If you're sitting here going, but I've already gone through my 100 list 400 times, then what you're going to do is, like I said, go back through that list and try to figure out people on that list that right? That Susie has 2 sisters or whatever, and try to go through it that way. You're going to get out of your house, get out of your comfort zone. Okay. You're going to go to the mom's group. You're going to go to the library. You're going to go to the public swimming pool, the fitness group. You're going to join the YMCA or whatever. And you're going to do those kinds of things to where, it's definitely, going to give you opportunities. I went to the play place the other day with my kids and I talked to 5 different moms and I brought it up in every conversation intentionally. And I got them all on my Facebook. And I think about that and then I write that down, right? I'm going to hand out some samples and I'm going to follow up with people and make sure I get their information. And I'm going to follow up with them. I'm going to write down that I need to follow up with them. So that's really important. And then the other thing is, like I said, follow up. So making sure that if you have talked to somebody that you follow up with them. What does that mean? That means sending them a message or calling them or following up about the sample you gave them, talking to them about their interest in the company, having lunch with them, sending them a diamond documentary. But here's the statistic. The statistic is that it takes about, on average, 7 to 12 exposures before someone says yes to something new. I bet if you look at your list, you have not reached out to your people more than 3 times, because that's the average amount of time that we do. Because after 3, we're like, okay, they're bored of us. Like, I'm bugging them. I don't want, and I always tell people, and I don't know why I use the mascara thing. I'm not trying to sell makeup, but if somebody has a mascara that they're selling me and they reach out to me and they tell me all about it and how great it is, and I am like busy, right? I'm with my kids. I don't have time to respond, and I like ignore it, right? I'm like, oh, I'll get back to that. If they never talk to me again, I'm probably not reaching out to them. Somebody else might talk to me about it, and I might buy it on the spot because I've already heard about it, right? If they reach out to me and I am not interested, I just tell them, hey, thank you so much, but I'm just so not interested right now. If it makes your face break out or something, you're going to tell them. If you're not interested right now, you're probably going to tell them that too. Or you might just not say anything. If they reach out to you every month, maybe you're thinking, I got 6 mascaras in my bag. Well, guess what? If they reach out to you once a month for the next 6 months, at some point you're going to run out of mascara. And I bet you're in your mind, you're going to go, maybe I'll try it. I'm out of mascara. They've been messaging me. It must be pretty good. Like, they haven't given up on me. Or maybe it was just the right timing, the right desire in your heart to try it. Maybe you've heard from 3 other people. It's so great, right? Plexus, the word is out, y'all. They're going to hear more and more and more. The thing I hear the most from people that join my team is they say, I have a lot of people sharing Plexus on my Facebook, but you're the only one that's like really excited about it. That's what I hear all the time. That's so important, right? It's so important that they know that they're joining with someone that is like on fire about what they're doing. You want to be known. I am lovingly known as the crazy Plexus lady. You want to be the one that they think of when they think about trying Plexus. So I hope those tips help you with recruiting. I could talk for another hour, but we've got about 5 more minutes, so I wanted to open it up for questions. Maybe I have a question. How about somebody hop on here and say what your biggest struggle in your business is, if I haven't mentioned it, and I'll try to give you a tip. How about that? Nobody? Everybody is a diamond ambassador? I'm impressed.
I already asked you tons of questions, so I don't know.
You don't count.
I don't count.
For me, it is people saying that it's too expensive. I just don't have the money.
That's a good one. I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot about this. I talked about this last night and I forgot to mention it, or whenever that was. I forgot to mention it tonight. So what I do is, one, I always try to come up with the common objections before they do. So in conversation, I always say like, and it's only like $4 a day, which I was drinking way more soda than $4 a day, right? I was going to the store and buying junk. Like, I already think, or if it's somebody that I want to join the business and I know they're going to tell me they're too busy, right? I automatically start saying something like, oh my gosh, it's been so nice because I've been able to take my business with me anywhere. I can fit it into the nooks and crannies of my life. It's just so great. I can do it when the kids go to bed. Like, I start thinking about that beforehand. And then with the cost thing, I send them like the funny videos on YouTube about like, you could have this or this, I just always try to follow up with them. If someone tells me they can't afford it, I emphatically tell them, then you need the business, because you shouldn't be living where you can't afford $100 a month. You shouldn't, right? And I just encourage them in that. And I continue to follow up with them about that. Sometimes I have people start reaching out to their friends or post on their Facebook before they ever order product. And just say like, hey, would you take a chance if you really want to try the product? Because usually, that's probably an excuse. It's probably not really, why. But if they really want it, they might start sharing or reaching out to their friends before you ever get them signed up. And then you can sign those people up with them, and then they can earn their product. If they invest initially, they won't ever have to invest again. So that's an idea. I don't know if that'll work for you, but that's something that I try to do. There was a opportunity meeting video that I watched that said you should always try to come up with the objections before other people do, and then they typically lower their guard. Versus if they're thinking in their mind all the things they're going to say against it, if you go into it first, like the fact that it's not FDA approved, the fact that, is it safe, is it going to work for me, like that kind of stuff. If you talk about those initially, then they're like, oh, well, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. So Well, y'all are
Okay, I have
awesome.
a question.
Oh yeah, what's up, Vanessa?
I can't really hear you for some reason, but I hope you can hear me.
Yeah.
So I want you to, and I don't think we have very much time, but touch on how to get over the fear, I guess you would say, of reaching out to people on your chicken list. So
Okay.
people that are, I don't want to say doing better than you, but the ones that like intimidate you, how do you like approach those without sounding like, hey, you want to try my cool products, you know? So like, what's your best way of approaching those?
Okay, so let me see if I can send y'all if I get off of here and then Kelly send you a Zoom thing, can you send it to your group real fast? So they can hop back on?
Yeah, you can send it to me and I can put it on our team page where this call is, and I can get everyone back on.
I think it's gonna lock me out. Let me see.
Yeah, just message it to me in Messenger and I'll put it on there real quick.
Okay, I'm doing it right now. Sorry, y'all. I didn't even think about that. I would have done it for mine.